Hi, and welcome to my journey with prostate cancer. This is week number 3. This was a little bit of a mixed week, folks. And as I've told you, my concept of doing this is as much for me relating what's going on in my life as it is to giving someone maybe some inspiration that has to go through this themselves. This was a kind of a strange week. We're still in the information gathering stages of my disease. So the week started off on Monday. I had to go to my personal physician early Monday morning to do a PSA retest. Now, the PSA is a prostate specific antigen test. And basically, it's a blood test, and the results of that tells one if the likelihood that they have prostate cancer. The usual testing for the pre this situation checkup that you go through with a doctor is a digital test where they go up and feel the prostate. Then if there's problems, they go to this step, which is the prostate specific antigen test, which is a blood test. The scale of the results of that is from 3 to 10. Okay. My first test, the results was 400, which is why everybody jumped immediately into the boat that there's prostate cancer and we got to move quickly on this. This test, I found out the next day, the results was 200 and something. I don't know why. I have not had an explanation of why 2 weeks ago it was 400 and this week it was 200. I mean, obviously that's still higher than 3 to 10, but I don't know yet what that means. That's on my list of questions for my urologist, which I meet with tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, starting of week 4. So that was the first thing. Then I had to leave there, drive across town, and take a COVID test. Thankfully, it was not the one where they poke the thing up your nose and tickle the back of your brain with the swab. The throat test is bad enough. Of course, you gag like a mule. But I had the COVID test, which I found out later in the week was negative. So that was Monday. Then I had nothing all week. Just sit around the house. I can't do much because I'm still in this Foley catheter, which is uncomfortable. I can't sit very long because it's very uncomfortable. I can't drive. I can't get in and out of my truck without it pulling and being even more uncomfortable. So I'm pretty much just sitting around doing nothing. On Friday was the biopsy test at Lynchburg General Hospital. I had to be there at dark 30 in the morning. I got there at about 6:30. I got there and go through all the check-in procedures and so forth. And I'll tell you, folks, I was nervous. I was a little worried about this one. I didn't know for sure what they were going to do, where they were going to do it, how they were going to do it. I was pretty much in the dark, and I was uptight, quite a bit uptight. So anyway, they, got me checked in and all that business. I checked with them when they did the pre-surgical stuff the day before. I asked them about the Foley catheter, how it would be best to be handled if they want me to do the bag that's strapped to your leg, which is a small collection bag that has to be emptied. And I figured that might be a problem while they're working on me, because I know the test, I've already been told the test was like 45 minutes or so. Or if they wanted me to use the overnight bag, which is the one I prefer. I'm more comfortable in that than I am with the little bag. And it has a 4-foot tube, so you can somewhat maneuver around, and it can be moved around if it was in the way. They said, oh, that's really a good idea. Why don't you do that? Which means I had to go to the hospital with a pair of shorts on as opposed to long pants, because I haven't figured out a way that I can do the tube business from this thing that attaches, down there, without with long pants. So I put on a pair of my running shorts and went to the hospital. I had a jacket on. It was cold that morning, but actually in a pair of Bermuda shorts. So, and just carried my little bag, So that's what I did. Anyway, that turned out to be the absolute right thing to do. So they take me upstairs to the it's not actually a surgical suite. It's actually in radiology where they're doing this test, and it's an MRI. Now, some of you folks may or may not have had an MRI. This is the basic machine. And this machine I was in was very similar to that. You'll notice that it's a large open space. It's not like the old-fashioned small tubes where you're claustrophobic as crap, which I can't go through. But machines like this, I can do, okay, this is the same kind of scans I've been doing now for several years with my lung scans. And, I'm used to that. Well, it was the same type of machine. One of the things that bothered me is that the table is uncomfortable. And I knew I was going to be there for somewhere in the vicinity of 45 minutes. And if you remember last week from the bone scan I had, which was 45 minutes, it killed my back and it killed my knee because I was laying flat on terribly uncomfortable tables. So the doctor comes in and he says, okay, here's what we're going to do. This was Dr. Lee. He says, we're going to probably put you on your side. I said, oh, that's fabulous. And he says, basically what we do is we take a needle. This is the graphic part, folks, that you might not want to listen to. They have me laying on my side, and they take a needle, and they measure out exactly where they want to go, because they've got a lymph node that they're targeting that they can see from the other scans that they think has metastasized, or however that word is, and it has the prostate cancer in that also. So they have this targeted out, and they insert a needle, and then they rescan to make sure you're going in the right direction and you got the target right. And he moves the needle in, and eventually gets to where it's supposed to be without hitting other things in there. I mean, you're going into the body, and then there's, with my side where they went in, there's kidneys, and I don't know what else all is in there. But anyway, so there's a needle down there. So I'm a little uneasy about this, but it was not near as bad as I anticipated it to be, folks. One, they gave me fentanyl, so I wasn't high. It wasn't like you were stoned, but I was definitely relaxed. I'm sure it lessened my pain tolerance. There was very little pain involved. When they actually went to insert the needle, they give you a little lidocaine, which was kind of a stingy thing. If you've ever had lidocaine, and it numbs it. And so I actually never felt anything. I could feel a little bit of pressure. They moved me in to the MRI machine several times to do, a series of scans, and came back and he made some adjustments. And so, and finally he says, okay, we're there. He says, now you're going to hear a little click. That's actually the needle has gone into the target, which is in my situation, a lymph node. And they abstract some of the yuck from the inside the lymph node that they're going to test. Okay. And it comes back out through the needle. And it's a funny little clicking sound. They did that about 6 times over 2 or 3 minutes. And then he says, okay, he says, you can, they told me to stay reasonably still, which I was being reasonably still. Believe me, I don't want to move around with a needle down in my side. And he says, okay, it's done. You can move a little bit if you like. I got to do one more scan to make sure there's not any internal bleeding or anything, which they did, and I was fine. So the biopsy itself, I made it mentally, I made it a lot worse than it was. It was not painful. It was not even really uncomfortable. The only pain and discomfort I've had through this whole procedure is from the catheter. And that is terribly uncomfortable at all times. But anyway, we got through the biopsy. I had to stay for about an hour to get the fentanyl out of my system. Of course, I couldn't drive. So I had, my sister and brother-in-law had already arranged for them to pick me up. And they told me, go home, you can eat anything you want, you can drink anything you want, just no activities for the day. Well, with the stupid catheter, I can't do any activities anyway, so it's taking an easy day. And actually, it turned out that I needed, Saturday, I was pretty inactive as well. I just wasn't very energetic. So, then came the bad part of the whole week. And again, folks, and trying to be as transparent as I can with this whole situation, and this obviously is going to embarrass me a little bit. On Saturday morning, I got up and I was feeling pretty good after, the biopsy on Friday. And I sat down at my desk here and to write my show for my travel and cruise industry show that's on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock. And I, did my stuff to get everything ready. And I'd had my morning coffee because I'm up usually at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to start preparing for an 11 o'clock show. And I pretty much was done and ready to go for the show. And I had a couple hours to spare. And I said, well, I'll just go over and get in my chair, my recliner, and watch the news or, just chill out for a while. And I stood up and I'm going, why? Wait a minute. My butt's wet. And I'm thinking, huh? The catheter, okay, I'm still in this catheter. The tube, the catheter tube comes out and you connect the tube to the bag to the catheter. Okay, to be graphic, folks. It had come off. Well, I can't necessarily feel when I am urinating. Sometimes you can feel it with the catheter. Sometimes you can't. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't know. So I'm sitting here and literally my pants are wet. My chair is wet because I had, expelled some fluids and the damn tube was off. So, folks, if you ever have to have a catheter, you ever have the Foley catheter, be sure that and you check to make sure that cotton picking connections work, because it could be an embarrassing situation like it was for me. And here I am telling you about it, telling the world about it. So it was a little bit of a cleanup, but what the heck. Anyway, so that was my week. I'll get the results. I hope to get some results tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. This is being taped on Sunday. Monday morning, I have an appointment with my urologist. I hope to get some results, have maybe some more information on the treatment options. I have a meeting with her this Monday, and next Monday, I have a meeting with my oncologist. So between the two, hopefully we'll have a good shot at what direction we need to go. So at least that's my hopes. So I will be back next week and share with you what happens. For now, that kind of wraps up the week as it is. This is week number 3. I'll be back with week number 4. Thanks for joining me. I hope this is doing some good. Have a great holiday week next week, and I'll talk to you a week from now.